Hey guys, Dylan from Mining with Minions here. Today we are up in Phoenix, British Columbia, and we were looking for some awesome specimens. I got a gem show coming up this weekend, and we're gonna see what we can find. Let's get it.
No way, guys, check this out. Just found this awesome piece of druzy here, guys. Look at the sparkle on that. I love pieces of druzy. Super sweet. So it turns out that in the highest city in Canada, there is still a lot of snow. Who would have thought? So what we're doing, guys, is we are searching through these ore piles, and what I am looking for is pieces that contain a lot of calcite, which is this white material here. It kind of looks like quartz, but it's not quartz. But what I got to do, here's the calcite, is find a piece like this that has heavy mineralization in it with the chalcopyrites, the galena, the octahedral pyrite crystals and stuff like that. So that's what we're looking for, but we don't have too much exposed right now because of the snow, so we're gonna see what we can find, guys, in this bluff here, and hopefully you can find some wicked stuff. Pro tip, guys, if you don't have snowshoes and the snow is breaking out underneath you, kind of go like this and use your shins as your snowshoes because it gives you more surface area. Pro tip. So this is the kind of stuff that I'm looking for, guys, which is this calcite. This one only has a little bit of mineralization in it, so we're looking for something with a lot more, but this is the exact stuff that I'm looking for, guys. Hopefully we can find some. Hey guys, so I just climbed up to a really high section. Everybody else is down at the bottom of that hill there because this snow is like 4 or 5 feet deep, but I'm starting to find some nicer stuff with the calcite and a lot of nice mineralization on there. So I'm gonna pick here for a little bit and see how many pieces I can get. Sweet. So my plan now is, because there's a lot more snow here than we anticipated, so our friends are gonna hang out down on the road, and I'm gonna hike up the hill with the buckets and load them up with our rocks, because who doesn't want specimens, guys? Just found a pretty piece here. It doesn't have much of the calcite on it, but it does have some really pretty malachite staining on it, which is super cool. I love when I see that stuff, guys. Whoa! Okay, so this one's super cool, guys. This one has a whole bunch of those octahedral pyrite crystals and tons of calcite on there, guys. This is gonna be a super sweet specimen once you put it in the acid. Sweet. This one is super cool, guys. It has a big calcite crystal in there with a beautiful, like, bluish green druzy quartz. That is just gorgeous. Sweet. Another beautiful piece here, guys, with tons of mineral in it. Some beautiful malachite staining. That's almost close to a azurite. That's more blue than green, but still beautiful piece. Sick. Just found something super cool here. If you guys see these red circles here, try to get them wet for you. Need some snow maybe. This is called poppy jasper. So it is really cool. It is an occurrence in copper mines, but this is super cool stuff, guys. So hopefully there's a big fracture here that I see coming along the side of the stone. Hopefully I can pop this piece out and bring it home. Super cool. Sweet, guys. I was able to get it out. Hold on. Beautiful poppy jasper. And it's even showing hugely on this side. So it's going to cut some wicked pieces out of that. Sweet. All right, guys. So we got our buckets nice and full of specimen material. What we are going to do now, guys, is we are going to head home, and I'm going to teach you guys how to give these a muriatic acid bath so we can expose these crystals. So see you guys at home. And we're home now, so the first thing I'm going to do is show you guys the necessary items needed to give your calcite rocks an acid bath. So the main things you guys are going to want to have is a Rubbermaid bucket or a plastic tub of some sort. That I like to have a lid on mine. You can not, or you can choose not to have one on yours, but I prefer to have a lid on mine. A nice rubber glove, a nice thick industrial rubber glove. These are very handy for this process. a little old toothbrush, or unused toothbrush, a mask, because there are some nasty chemicals that come off this stuff, a nice little soaker tub that is full of holes so that the acid can make its way through and it's easy to pull the rocks out of the acid. And of course, you guys are going to want to have your muriatic acid. This stuff eats organic material, so it works really good in etching the calcite off of your specimens. So that's basically the basic stuff that you need to get etching your rocks. So the first step we're going to do, guys, is take this toothbrush, scrub all the loose dirt off these rocks. So let's get scrubbing.
Alright guys, so the next step is to mix your muriatic acid with water at a 50-50 ratio. So let's open our acid tub. As you guys can see, I'm already full of acid. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to add your muriatic acid, add about half your bottle into your tub, and then add an equal amount of water to it, and that should be perfect for etching your calcite off of your specimens. So what we're going to do, we got all of our calcite specimens nice and lined up here on our tray. We're going to drop that in there. And I think I'm going to grab one of these larger specimens too. Throw that in there. And if you guys can see, sorry for the glare, but all of those bubbles that are starting to come up, that is your calcite starting to deteriorate off of your specimen, guys. So that means the acid's doing what it's supposed to do. It's not really working as hard as I want it to, but maybe let's see how it does in an hour. And if it's not working as fast as I'd like it to, we'll add a bit more of the muriatic acid, because I just did an acid bath in this about 2 weeks ago, so it might be a little bit weak, but let's check it out in about an hour. Alright, so it's been about an hour. Let's see how these are doing. Oh, well, I'm happy I didn't add any acid to that at the beginning, because that is bubbling really nicely. That is doing exactly what we want it to do. You guys can tell some of those crystals are starting to come out really nice. That one's looking really cool there. But I think they're gonna need at least another hour. Let's see this big one here. Oh, that is starting to look cool. Super sweet. Can't wait to see what this one looks like. It is looking super awesome. So let's get it back in there and check back in another hour, guys. Here we go, hour number 2, guys. Still bubbling quite a bit, especially the larger pieces at the back. Oh, they're starting to look awesome. This bigger piece here looks like it's going to take quite a while, but the smaller pieces are starting to look really, really good, guys. So I think they're going to need at least another hour. Maybe we'll leave them in for an hour and a half this time. And if you guys are wondering why I keep doing an hour at a time, it's because I don't want the acid to eat the host rock completely, because then it just turns your specimen super, super brittle. And that I don't want to happen. Oh, I cannot wait for this one to be done. This one might need a few hours, as it is absolutely massive. But there is so much going on in there. Can't wait to see what happens when those pockets get completely dissolved. Sweet. So, put the lid back on and be back in an hour and a half. Alright, so it has officially been 3.5 hours since these have been soaking. Well, the big specimen's starting to slow down a bit. These bigger ones are still bubbling out quite a bit. Smaller ones look awesome. So the one that has the pancake in the middle there, I might leave that one in a little bit longer, But the rest of these, except for these two, maybe I'll take this larger one out. Leave that one in here to soak. That one I might leave like that because I feel like it is mostly calcite and it's just going to fall into a billion little pieces. So what we're going to do with this container here is we're going to take it over and put it in my secondary bin here. And what is in here is basically just water and baking soda. So what the baking soda does is it neutralizes the acid, so makes it so it stops eating away at the rock and your hand when you touch the rocks after. So well, basically you're going to want to leave it in here for as long as you left it in the acid for, and that is going to leach all of the acid out of the stone so that you don't have like a weird crusty white film that forms on the rock afterwards if you don't do this process. So we're going to leave it in here for 3.5 hours. But while we leave these in here to soak, we're going to go back and just take a look at this big specimen here. I want to see what this is looking like so far. That is looking so sweet. Bring it over into the sun a bit. That is absolutely insane looking, guys. Getting super sweet. So this one I might leave into the water, or the acid I mean, for a little bit longer. Same with that one. And then once those are done, we're going to soak these ones and we're going to see what they look like, guys. So let's check back in a few hours.
So here are the end results on those specimens we soaked. They turned out beautiful. This one here is still drying out a bit, but you can see all of the chalcopyrites in there. All of these octahedron pyrite crystals that are growing. There's also some quartz crystals that are growing in a few of the gaps here that are really, really cool. And I decided not to leave it in the acid for too long and completely dissolve that calcite, as this stuff becomes super, super brittle when you leave it in there for too long. But it turned out really cool. I really loved this one. It is just loaded in epidote. And it has a really, really cool galena crystal that is stuck on there. Or growing there, I guess I should say. Yeah, this one's really, really pretty. This one turned out super neat as well. It is covered in those octahedron pyrite crystals. And tons of epidote. It is just super super wicked. I was going to say super weird for some reason, but I meant to say super wicked. Sweet. This one here, loaded with those octahedron pyrites. Another really, really brittle piece. This one loaded with chalcopyrites. I wish the camera picked up how sparkly this stuff really is. It is absolutely insane. And then, of course, I had to save the best ones for last. Check these ones out, guys. Just a whole plate of little quartz points that have the octahedron pyrite crystals growing in them. And a bunch of chalcopyrite. They look like chalcopyrite feathers almost. It is so cool. I love this stuff. And then I have to say, this piece is probably my favorite of them all. It is like a whole little landscape on there. Tons of epidote. Tons of the chalcopyrite. There looks to be a little bit of hematite there, that red. And then in these pockets, again, loaded with beautiful little quartz crystals. Tons of epidote in there as well. Yeah, this piece is definitely my favorite of all of them. Another little pocket in there. It's just so sweet. Beautiful stuff.
Well guys, that's a wrap for this adventure. We had an absolute blast up there in Phoenix, British Columbia gathering those specimens, and I am so happy with how they turned out. But I think next season I'm gonna remember not to head up there so early. If you guys enjoyed that video, please leave me a thumbs up, leave me a comment if you'd like to, and subscribe to my channel. I have a lot of awesome adventures coming up in the near future. Till the next one.